We are back with another episode of MISMO Mic'd Up. I am joined today by Erik Rowan, and this is one of the episodes that I enjoy most when I'm literally getting to meet somebody for the first time. Although Erik and I think we may have crossed paths in the past, but we're really meeting each other for the first time and having a conversation for the first time. And as I like to do on my podcast, I'm recording this conversation. So, Erik, thanks for jumping on.
Oh, of course, of course.
So I've known Doug Long for a long time, and you all are recent new members to MISMO, and Rick Shin's been inside the MISMO community for a bit, and so we got to know each other. We got to know Crittora and MISMO through Rick, and then I, of course, knowing Doug, and then like I always want to do is I want to find out who the real smart person in the room is, and they directed me to you, Erik. So don't let us down.
Okay, no pressure.
So, Erik, do us a favor. Just give us a little background on who you are, and then a little bit about Crittora, because we're going to go into detail there. But really, a little bit of background on you, and then I've got some good questions to tee up here.
Yeah. So I'm Erik Rowan. I'm the CEO of Crittora. I'm a co-founder and inventor of the methodology that we use for encryption. I started out in the mortgage space at Pinnacle Financial, which was Doug Long's company, way back in the 1900s. And I was the CIO, so the Chief Information Officer for the organization, and I built out all of their systems, and we built, we built intranets, which was bleeding edge back then, right in the 90s. We had intranets. I built a automated underwriting system for Alt A products back in the day. We blew it up from about $250 million annually to about 8 billion, and sold it just before the collapse. And I went into cybersecurity after that, which is why our new company is actually security focused. So I went into cybersecurity, wanted to do something a little different from mortgages, and went through studying all my certifications and all that fun stuff, and worked in cybersecurity for a while. Had my own firm doing pen testing. I worked for JetBlue Airways for a little bit, and then I worked for an insurance company, doing all their cybersecurity operation stuff, and got back together with Doug, and we started up Crittora. So here we are.
I love it, and I love that you talk about being on the security side, because there's so many AI startups out there. And when Doug was describing what you guys are doing to me the other day or a couple weeks back, I'm like, fascinating, so needed, and I don't see a lot of other people focused on this. So let's get into it. Why don't you describe, Erik, like what was the problem that you saw, and how did Crittora in its first iteration solve that problem? And then maybe we can take it right into kind of what you've evolved the product and platform into.
Yeah, so the original problem that we saw with agentic AI is the concept of ambient authority. So basically what that means is, imagine the tool set that you have. It's a light switch. It's either on or off. There's no real dimmer. And as your agents have access to, let's say, your CRM, your payroll system, all of that information is available to your agent, and they start to bleed into each other. So when you're running stuff for, let's say, we saw an example where a mortgage company actually ran an agent, and it went to go grab some information out of the CRM, and it ended up grabbing information out of payroll, and we're returning it back to someone that wouldn't normally have access to payroll. So we saw where there was an opportunity to use our unique encryption standards to actually control those tools. So we call it scoping, right? So we scope down the tools to say, hey, these are the tools that you can that you can use. We cryptographically sign them, we encrypt them, and then before runtime, that package gets decrypted and verified. And then once it's verified, then the agent acts. So it's only using the tools that we give it authority to use.
Yeah, I think it again when Doug explained to me, it's like the light bulbs went out on bright for me. I totally grasped the value prop. So let's try to break it down for my great aunt who's watching who can't even spell AI yet. What does this mean in practice for an operator today that's leveraging, maybe they have three or four uh, agents they're using for some tasks. Maybe one is delivering, email statuses back to a borrower at key milestones, and maybe another one is updating the general ledger, as loans are sold and revenue comes in the door. Just explain just briefly how you kind of how your platform sits on top of that those agents.
Yeah. So what we do is we give the agents the tools that they're able to use. And by that I mean we have a protocol called the agent permission protocol. And what the protocol does is it's a structured format that tells the agent, hey, this is the runtime that can use it. So this is the agent, and then we bring it together with the intent, which is the prompt, and then we bring it together with the tools that they use. So in your case, you had mentioned I have access to email, and I have access to the general ledger, and I sorry.
No worries. It's that time of year. Allergies are hitting everywhere.
Yeah, and we're in Florida, so we get pounded,
Yeah,
pounded.
I did the first part of this year. I've already done 5 trips to Florida, which has got my allergies on like high alert.
Oh, oh yeah, oh yeah. So you're feeling it. Um, okay, I got to think of where it was at.
Oh, we were just talking. Yeah, we're talking about the agents and how the tool.
Oh yeah, okay. So in your case, you had mentioned the tools, and the tools you mentioned was email and the general ledger. And with your email, let's say it's open, it can email anyone, right? I mean, so do you scope it down and say, hey, you can only email from this list of people, and these are my borrowers that I work with, or can it email anyone? And you might not want to, when you're using that email tool, you might not want to give it access to the ledger at the same time, because what if it took data out of the ledger and emailed it to someone else? It's the same thing. If you think of the concept, like you can kind of picture this if you think of when you're using Chat GPT and you go out and say, hey, I want you can do a web search. Well, that's ambient authority on the web. That means it can search any website. Maybe you only wanted to search Wikipedia, but you gave it access to the entire internet. So it has access to the dark web. It could run into something that receives a prompt injection and then act on that. So what we're doing is we're just saying, hey, we're going to scope the tools down and we're going to control what the tools can do for the agent combined with that prompt. So I have a prompt that's going to go out and email status, chase documents for a borrower. And when I do that, it's not going to have the general ledger access.
Yeah.
So that's basically what we're doing.
I love it. And as I said, there's a lot of startups that have come into the mortgage industry, specifically have come into like the loan manufacturing process with AI powered tools, which I think are all great. But most of them that I've seen, I guess maybe there's some configuration at the tool level. What
Right.
what
Yeah.
you're describing, that you're really creating the rules, the guardrails, if you will, at the enterprise level, and
Yeah.
then applying, and then the tools kind of live. I say live in air quotes inside that hierarchy. Is that about right?
Yeah. Yeah, and so you brought up a good point. So usually the security around what the agent can do is at the tool level. So if we think of a tool, think of an API. That means that this API has to be scoped down to say, hey, Brian can only see loans that are not employee loans, right? So to make for someone to see employee loans, I have to make another API with more, a different set of credentials. Every time I've got to make a different, API for this. And that just doesn't scale. That's not going to scale with what we want to do with agents. So what we're doing is instead of that, we can actually scope this down within our protocol. It's cryptographically signed and encrypted. You have the same just one credential, and then you can pick up and inherit just the tools that you need.
Got it. So, in my mind, I'm coming right to like the compliance regulatory side. I think what you're describing is a great preemptive answer or potentially an answer to a visit, from a regulator for an IMB, right? Has this come into the conversations with prospective clients, around the
Yeah.
regulatory oversight?
Yeah, so a big factor of what we do is we have an audit log, and our audit log tracks exactly what was encrypted, what was decrypted, not the data itself, but that the encryption, decryption occurred, where it occurred, who did it, and what the status was. Was it, was it valid? Was it tampered with? And that fits into it. We also contributed to a NIST request for information as Crittora, and put in ideas of, hey, this is how we're moving to lock this stuff to, to make agents more secure, which was part of the information they were requesting. So yeah, we're very much in line with the regulations that are yet to come.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Our fear is that they're going to be coming after we're going to get the regulation after we've been audited.
That never happens.
Yeah, exactly. So are you guys now, is the product commercially available
It
to
is.
lenders
Yes.
today?
Yes, it is. In fact, we have it our some of our first agents were in a mortgage company here, well, just outside of Orlando, Florida.
Okay. Awesome.
So
Awesome.
we are up and running.
And you guys are going to be at our upcoming MISMO Spring Summit
In
in
Louisville.
Louisville, and
Yes.
you're going to be demoing from the main stage and showing our audience and attendees this tool. What do you hope to get from the summit in particular, and why is MISMO important to Crittora?
So we want to become the standard of the agent secure standard for the mortgage industry. We're very passionate about the mortgage industry. I still have, you can't really leave it. Um, you can go away for a while, but you're gonna get back into it. And Doug's been in for over 40 years. He's a well-known um staple of the industry. So we really want to help the mortgage industry really leverage agentic AI, because I mean, the cost of originating a loan today is what, like 10 to 12,000. What if that could be in a year from now? What if it could be 8,000? What if a year after that it could be 6,000? So we really see a lot of potential in the mortgage industry for using agentic AI, but it has to be secure.
Yes.
So that's our passion.
So you built the wrapper. You've built the secure wrapper. You're not necessarily building and selling agentic tools per se, or are you?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Right. Yes. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And that's another great point, is that there's layers of security that we need to put down to secure this. We are only we are only over one particular area of it. But there's also guardrails before the data goes into the engine to make sure, hey, you didn't put any PII in here. You didn't. There's no sensitive data. So there's guardrails that go along with it. There's many pieces, and we're really just focused on this one piece of the tools and how they can be scoped down to do just what they need to do, least privileges.
Love it. How, from a lender perspective, what's the level of effort for a lender to onboard Crittora and implement?
It's actually very easy to onboard Crittora. I think we have more of a challenge with some lenders of saying, what exactly do you want the AI to do?
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
because the first thing they're gonna say is, well, I want it to pre-qual my borrower, and that's kind of a relationship thing. Like maybe the human should do that,
Right. Right.
right?
Right. Right.
And maybe so repeatable stuff. So we're helping them steer like this is really where you're going to get your biggest bang for your buck.
Yeah. It's interesting. You're almost, clearly you have a great product, but it sounds like you end up having to start by being a consultant to a degree for them to get their house in order on how they're even using the tools.
Yeah, and we're seeing that we see that not only in the mortgage industry, we see it like in some of the smaller government entities that we're working with. It's, oh, we're going to classify, we want this classification of data, to be locked down, but we don't have any of our data classified. It's like, all right, we gotta start at square one.
Right.
Same concept.
Love it.
It's like, you lock it down, and to lock it down, you really gotta clean the house.
Yeah. Well, Eric, this has been great. I learned so much more about what you guys are doing. I'm excited to see your demo at Summit in Louisville on June 2nd. By the way, it's my birthday, so you can give me a
Oh,
shout out from stage.
okay. I will bring you up some oranges from Florida.
There you go. Love it. Well, thanks, Eric, for coming on. Thanks for sharing with our audience what Crittora is up to. Folks, I'll put links to Erik and to Crittora in the notes to this episode. So wherever you're watching this episode, you can scroll into the notes and you'll be able to connect directly with Erik and Crittora and learn more. Thanks again for coming on today, Erik.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.